this workflow is taking the call transcript, it's filling out all of my custom deal properties in HubSpot and updating the deal stage for me, whether it was qualified or not, moving them to the right deal stage, including, how they heard about us. Everything is captured. All of my custom properties, like which CRM that they use, and whether or not they pass my pricing gut check, whether or not they have Clay resources in-house, our next steps, everything, and a follow-up email is drafted for me automatically that I could just click send to send. It's fully customized to my go-to-market, to my ICP, to my CRM. It took me very little to set this up, and it's only $15 a month for Fathom plus whatever I'm paying for Zapier. So it's much cheaper than most call recording tools, and the actual cost per follow-up meeting that I have, like per action, is like less than $1. So it's very, very cheap, and it's super automated. And this is really, really cool if you don't have Gong and you want to take advantage of what's possible with Clay for Gong, or Gong for Clay. This is a much easier, more budget-friendly option for smaller companies that don't have Gong. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Really appreciate it. Thanks for watching. Cheers. How's it going, guys? Jacob from Sculpted here. Really excited to record this video. I just built a crazy workflow, and it's based on the Clay's new integration with Gong.io. They just launched a crazy integration with Gong. Essentially allows you to pull in your Gong call transcript into Clay and then use it for tons of different use cases. So, for example, if someone mentions things like they're frustrated about a product bug, or they share personal interests, or a competitor, or things like that, you can push that onto Clay and finally use the power of AI in a really customized way to build your own prompts that extract the specific information that you want, formatted for your go-to-market and for your tech stack, and trigger follow-up actions such as updating records in Salesforce, creating support tickets, sending alerts in Slack, etc. The only problem is this is limited to Gong customers, and Gong's a very enterprisey solution that only larger teams have. And if you don't have Gong, then you can't use this and you can't benefit from it. I personally don't have a Gong, and I was like, wow, I'm tired of manually using call transcripts. I want to automate this too. How can I do that? So I went on the hunt for a very cheap alternative to Gong that does, I think, probably everything that Gong does for the most part. I'm not holding in Gong, and probably the use case is a bit different from simple call recorder, but I built a insanely complicated, well, it's not so complicated, it's got like 30 steps though, a very complicated, sorry, I had the wrong Zapier open. So this has 30 something steps. It has a few branches. I built a really, really complex workflow in Zapier that uses Fathom.ai. With Fathom's an awesome note taker. I actually just switched off from my old call recorder to Fathom because they had feature parity in most areas, a very nice interface, and most importantly, they have a Zapier integration where you can actually push your call transcripts to Zapier. And it's on the $15 a month plan, which is awesome. The other tools that I looked up actually don't allow you to send your transcript for some reason. So what I did is I built a really, really cool workflow, which essentially takes the call transcript, okay? It makes sure that, in this case, it's a discovery call. What did I want to do? After every single discovery call, I was essentially taking, before the transcripts, you have to manually go through the call, type in the challenges, solutions, goals, etc. into your HubSpot CRM. I also want to know things like how many contact records do they have for company records, which CRM are they using, do they have Clay resources in-house, do they pass my price check where I flash the price tag and see if they are okay with it, what are our next steps, all these things manually input to the CRM. Then I realized I could just take the transcript, copy from my call recording tool, paste it into ChatGPT with a template, and have it output, for example, a follow-up email for me, as well as maybe properties that I would then copy and paste into the CRM. So it was more automated, but it still took a while. But this is fully automated, and it's like less than $1 per meeting, and it's just so much more effective and easy. What does this do? It takes a transcript from my meeting, and it makes sure that it's a discovery call by looking at the meeting title. I have a standard title for discovery meetings. It then finds the company in HubSpot, finds the deal associated to that meeting, right, and the contact, etc. And then it runs a series of operations with ChatGPT. We're going to determine if the deal was qualified or not, and if so, why was it qualified or why wasn't it qualified? Meaning, are we moving forward in the conversation? We're extracting only the prospect's transcript speaking time and not mine. That way, the AI and extracting challenges and goals doesn't muddy the waters with my description of their challenges. Rather, it only uses the prospect's own words to then summarize their core challenges, their core solutions that they have in mind, and their goals. Because as a salesperson, you want to know, what are they struggling with in their own words? And what solutions have they been evaluating? Like, when they're talking to you, you're usually not the only solution. Yes, using Clay is a solution, but there's also a solution of, hiring Sculpted with Clay, or using it in-house, or buying a different AI tool, or doing nothing. So all these different solutions in their mind, you want to know what you're selling up against. And what are the primary goals they're going after? All this was manually input by salespeople. No one liked it. plus the salesperson was muddying the waters with their own take on things, whereas the AI has an unbiased take. I've actually instructed the AI based on what we're looking for, what kind of challenges that we run into that we help people with, what kind of solutions we see, what kind of goals our customers usually have, and it's looking for those types of languages in that type of speech in the transcript, and it's filling out the properties for me. It's also listening for CRMs. I have a property where I track either HubSpot or Salesforce or something else. It's looking for whether or not they are using, how many records they have in their CRM. So it could be that they have it could be that they mention only company record count and or contact record count. So I have two different properties here that it extracts: company and contact record count, if any. It looks for price gut check. Did they respond positively to the price that I mentioned, or did they get scared off by it? I even have a how you hear about us. So when I ask them how do you hear about us, this is going to capture them speaking, talking about loosely, I was looking on Google and then I clicked over here and I found this. All that information is going to be captured in this property, a long form property. And I can later on use AI to segment this and bucket it. But I'm going to get real solid feedback here, as opposed to forcing them to pick a toggle like LinkedIn, Facebook, whatever. Here, they can speak and we'll just capture the CRM. I also wanted to extract some information for an automated email follow-up to draft a follow-up email for me. So what we're getting here is small talk summary. So this is essentially looking at the whole transcript, and it's pulling out personal information, small bits of small talk and whatnot that we discussed during the call that I could use in a follow-up email. When I send a follow-up email, I like to start off by saying, hey, and the first line is kind of sort of personal reference. So this is just summarizing that aspect. This is pulling out the first names of the people I'm going to be addressing in my email. And then this is creating a first line, like an opening line of the email based on the personal summary. And then this is also checking, this is a qualification step. It's looking for, do they have in-house Clay resources or not? And then we're going to split the path. So based on the answer to the qualification step above, whether or not they were qualified, right here, this gets a qualified or not output. It's like true or false. And then there's also a reason. So it gives me a reason as to why. So then this split down here is going to happen. Hold on. This split here happens basically if the, here we go. Hold on. There we go. If qualified text contains true, then it goes down this qualified path, and if not, it goes down the unqualified path. In either case, we're going to update the deal with the information that they share with us, and we're going to add the qualification reasoning in the qualification properties, right? Like the challenges, whatever. If it's not qualified, we're still going to fill out those properties, and we're going to move. In this case, we're going to move the deal to the qualified deal stage from discovery call, and we're also going to move in the non-qualified situation the deal to the unqualified deal stage or disqualified. And we're going to fill out a property called disqualified reasoning as well. And that's really, really saves me a lot of time. Okay. Now, if they're qualified, I want to write an email that essentially has 3 bullets for follow-up. I'll explain, but this is essentially writing the email as a next step. It's going to write, I'll show you. So this section of the flow, we already generated the first line. Hey, John, funny that you told me XYZ story, haha. Then the email says, recapping our conversation. Here are 3 bullets, like the challenge that they face, the goal that they have in mind, and how they want to solve it. Then I have a next steps line where it's like looking forward to regrouping on Tuesday at 3 p.m. to show you the demo, whatever it is. This is summarizing our next steps, and then this takes that summary and turns it into a sentence. And then all of that is included in an email draft, and I get a Slack message in my inbox. So I'll show you an example of that. If I just go over here and I test this step. So you see a draft just appeared in my inbox here. Run the full workflow, so it didn't have a lot of data it needed, so it was blank. I'll show you the actual thing in a sec. Check this out. Okay, so here's a screenshot of what the email looks like in my inbox. So it has the prospect's first name and last name, a follow-up. Hey, Thomas, hope you enjoyed all the sites in Israel before diving back into New York's chaos. I obviously this needs to be rewritten a little bit, but I could just tweak this myself. I don't know why they made this mistake, but it makes a pretty good opening personalized line, and this is what we discussed in the sales call. Then it goes into a recap of our conversation. This is generated by AI. They're struggling with outbound prospecting and maintaining lead volume since higher demand periods ended, aiming for 1 to 2 project wins per quarter to restore previous capacity levels, and considering a hybrid approach of in-house solutions and outsourcing for lead generation improvements. And then, boom, looking forward to our scoping session tomorrow to discuss your data needs. Talk soon. So this is very good. I mean, I would obviously tweak this a little bit, but overall, this is a solid follow-up email. And this is just in my inbox. The reason it's a draft and not sent is because I do want to review it before just to give it a once over, make sure it does look good and it is accurate, because AI isn't perfect, but it's much easier than me writing this from scratch. And if it's not qualified, then something similar happens. Basically, I draft a follow-up email that says, hey, sorry it didn't work out for X, Y, reason. It sounds like you're trying to accomplish A, B, and C. And I'm sorry, we weren't a fit because of X, Y, Z reason that we discussed in the call, but, wishing you luck. The reason I did this is because I often don't follow up with non-qualified prospects, because it doesn't make sense. The amount of manual time it would take me to do that doesn't make sense for a non-qualified prospect. But it isn't really nice to get off a call and not follow up with them. So it makes it feel like, oh, I was just in it for the money. So I made this automation where it's much easier for me now to click a button to follow up, even with not qualified prospects, to leave a good taste in their mouth, show them that I do care, and maybe in the future, if it is a fit, they can come back around. And then either way, it ends off. It sends a Slack channel message to our Slack channel, which essentially says, hey, this qualified meeting just happened with this person, this company. Here's a link to their website, their LinkedIn profile URL, their job title. It also links to their deal in HubSpot, so they can see everything there, all the challenges and everything else. And just a confirmation that it all went through. So very, very cool and super, super customizable. Again, this workflow is taking the call transcript. It's filling out all of my custom deal properties in HubSpot and updating the deal stage for me, whether it was qualified or not, moving them to the right deal stage, including, how they heard about us. Everything is captured. All of my custom properties, like which CRM that they use, and whether or not they pass my pricing gut check, whether or not they have Clay resources in-house, our next steps, everything, and a follow-up email is drafted for me automatically that I could just click send to send. It's fully customized to my go-to-market, to my ICP, to my CRM. It took me very little to set this up, and it's only $15 a month for Fathom plus whatever I'm paying for Zapier. So it's much cheaper than most call recording tools, and the actual cost per follow-up meeting that I have, like per action, is like less than $1. So it's very, very cheap, and it's super automated. And this is really, really cool if you don't have Gong and you want to take advantage of what's possible with Clay for Gong, or Gong for Clay. This is a much easier, more budget-friendly option for smaller companies that don't have Gong. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Really appreciate it. Thanks for watching. Cheers.